Welcome everyone to the Endless Horizons channel. Thanks for joining me, and I would like to, in today's video, I'd like to talk about a few things. First, I'd like to talk to you about the importance of range time. Got to get those groups tight. Now's the time to start practicing. It's early summer. You got to build up your strength, do some exercises, get to a bow range. If you don't have one, you can get on the internet. You can find indoor bow ranges, 3D courses in your area, I'm sure. Myself, I'm pretty fortunate. I have a archery range in my backyard, and I'm going to walk you through that today and maybe give you some tips and might help keep those groups tight for this fall. Also in this video, I wanted to talk about my spring turkey season, or the lack of it, I should say, and maybe talk about some bow maintenance issues I had during turkey season. So with that said, I also would like to start the video out by thanking, from the bottom of my heart, thanking all the new fans, all the new subscribers. You guys have spreading the word with the Endless Horizons channel. Tremendous amount of new support. A lot of people have been reaching out, and I thank you very much for that. Not being selfish to my channel. This isn't why I do this, for ratings and reviews and any of that. I don't get sponsored or anything. It's just to create a community. For myself, I've been bow hunting since about 1983. I have a little bit of experience, and I wanted to share it with everybody. So it would keep, when somebody teaches you something, it speeds up the process, and it holds their interest more. And that's what I want to do with this channel, to grow together as a community to help each other. So with that said, I wanted to again talk to you about the archery range. Myself, I have I think 4 targets set out, 20, 40, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 yards. I'll walk you through that, my process and how I go about that here in a little bit. But first, let me get back to the turkey season. In Ohio, our spring gobbler season is I guess about like everybody else, it's about 3 to 4 weeks depending. But this year we had a real decline in turkeys. According to the Fish and Game Department, we were only allowed to take 1 bearded tom per season in spring. So with that, I was basically only interested in hunting the last 2 weeks of turkey season. That is when in Ohio, in northeastern Ohio where we live, that gives us the opportunity to hunt from sun up to sundown the last 2 weeks of turkey season, and that's what I prefer to do. So I was preparing for my turkey season as always, and had been working my strength and getting my accuracy on my compound bow and my crossbow, and been having some shoulder issues, so I decided to use my crossbow for turkey season, which is what I usually use for turkey for many reasons. Mainly, I'm inside of a ground blind, and the compound bow, you can see my draw. It's just I can't find my draw is too big for inside of a blind, so I prefer to use my crossbow. So anyhow, I got my crossbow out and was sighting it in, and I noticed when I would cock the crossbow, I could hear a clicking sound. And I run an Excalibur crossbow for my own choice. Some may like those, some may not. I'm not here to tell you what to buy. And there has been some limb issues with the new Excalibur crossbows, so I was like, oh geez, hopefully I'm not having a limb starting to fail. And long story short, I found out what it was. The aluminum riser that the stock mounts to is machined in with some set screws, and basically the machining inside the aluminum failed, and the threads were ripping out, and so the riser and the stock were separating just a little bit, maybe a millimeter or 2, when it was under full load. So obviously that's a no-no. So by the time I took that over to my uncle who lives just down the road here through the woods, by the time I got a hold of him and was able to have him kindly help me, we took the bow apart, and I have a machinist background, and so does he, and we were able to put it on a milling machine that he has at his house actually, and we were able to remill the failed threads and retap them and do all that. So then when we had it apart, we went ahead and checked all the threads in the riser and retapped them, threaded them so we wouldn't run into that issue in the future. And it was a good thing we did, because there was some threads that were showing some signs of wear. So keep that in mind, anybody out there that has an Excalibur crossbow. Check those bolts that go into the riser, the aluminum. They're under a lot of stress. I run a Micro 335, I believe. I think it's 270 pound limbs. That's a lot of torque, a lot of inertia for such a short stroke. I don't know I think that stroke's maybe 10 inches or something. So basically, by the time I got the crossbow back together, there was only a few days left for me to get, I think 2 days left in those last 2 weeks that I was just talking to you about for the turkey season. And the weather, we had really high temperatures. I think that week we had in the mid upper 90s, and the humidity, the dew point was like 74%, or 74 degrees, I'm sorry, which in northeastern Ohio is unheard of. So I basically sat out the turkey season. So that was a bummer, but it did allow me to go over my crossbow and my compound bow and go over the maintenance of them thoroughly. And then I really started working on my range, my archery range, and building up my shoulder. And to let you guys know, my shoulder's feeling really good. So hopefully I'll be able to get that compound out and get up there on a tree come early fall. So with that said, we're gonna go take a little walk on the range, and I'll break that down for you guys. And before I do that, I'd like to thank everybody again for subscribing, and please pass the word. Share with friends, family, students, anybody that's interested in archery or outdoors. Let them know, share the channel, and as always, hit the like and subscribe button and stay with us. I'm going to have more videos during the summer to lead us out to the fall. Before you know it, we'll be tipping them over this fall. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being with me and all the support. It's been a wonderful journey, and I hope to continue it. So let's go for a walk. Okay, everybody, like I said, we're going to do a little walkthrough of my range and give you some helpful tips or show you how I do things, and maybe you can use them for yourself. So basically, I have a deck here. It's a two-tier deck, I guess. I got the main deck here, a little walkway here. I have a little bow, a little holder right there that holds my arrows. It's an arrow holder. My father made that basically, I think it was about 1980. He made a few of them for me. About 80, 81, right in there, right before I started getting into archery. And basically all he did, it's a great idea. He took PVC pipe, say it's 4-inch, drilled a few holes in it so water wouldn't collect in it. In the bottom, put a piece of wood with a nail on it, and you basically just step it into the ground, and like I say, it holds your arrows. So I put my arrows there, like I say. It's easy for me to grab. And then over here on this tree, I have can't see it real good, I have a step, a screw-in step. I threw it into this old nut tree here, and I hang my bow right there, which is nice. So when I'm up here shooting, my range is out here. Let's see if you can see. I got a 20-yard 3D deer target, 20 yards, 30-yard bag out there. It's hard to see. And then right about in there, if you can see it, there's a black bag. That's 40. And then I don't know if you can see it real good. There's a 50 and a 60-yard bag out there. And primarily, like I was saying, I like to keep my arrows real close to me, and when I walk out after my shot, I like to hang my bow there. Gives me you know, a little rest to so I don't have to carry my bow across the range. So anyhow, when I walk up to this deck, I try to stand real close, keep my feet. I try to keep them in line with the target. There's a 20-yard. And I try to keep them pretty close together. And I try to pretend I'm on a tree, you know, on my tree stand, and I use a Lone Wolf assault. So if you're familiar with those, they're very small. So I like to practice, even though this deck is large, I like to keep my feet, you know, sometimes I'll even overhang them like this, you know, and basically I'm preparing and practicing for a shot like I'm out of a tree stand, and it works very well. So let's go for a little walk, shall we? Like I say, nothing fancy, but it's very important to practice. I can't preach it enough. Now here's my little 3D target. I got that thing for, I think, $39 about 4 years ago. It was a closeout sale. It was defective. Some of this was starting when I bought it. I had to remove the antlers. My wife collects antlers. She collects sheds, which is wonderful. And she even stole them off of my my buck target. So, funny. So, let's walk over to, well, let me show you. Let me look back at that 20-yard target. You can get an idea what it looks like downrange. Yeah, I'm coming off, like I said, we were up there. This boom right there drops it in nice. Then we'll walk over to this 30-yard target. Like I say, nothing fancy by no means. I don't spend a lot of money on my bags. 30-yard target. This is a good target. I would recommend these. It's held up very well. It says Bone Collector on it. I don't no, oh no, I'm sorry. Here we go. Here's the model number. Bone Collector BC 300. I think you can get those at Wally World. Not sure. A good bag. It'll stop my compound easily, and it does a good job with the crossbow arrows, the bolts. Then over here is I forgot to do a little look around shot. Sorry for the glare there. There's the look back shot. And then over here is the 40-yard target. My wife got this at a garage sale for like 10 bucks. This is a Black Hole, and it says here stops all field tips and broadheads. I must say, I don't like this target. At 40 yards, you can see at 40 yards, my PSE, which has got 60-pound limbs that are maxed out, the arrows go probably halfway through it. My crossbow, they'll almost go completely through it. So, not the best bag, but for 10 bucks. Let's walk over here. This is the 50-yard bag. This is a wonderful bag. If money was no object, this would be the only bag I'd run with. It's good size, durable. It'll stop damn near anything I throw at it. It is called, I guess it's just called a Big Shot target. It stops everything. And again, I use it at 50 yards. Now we go out further. I call this my Western target. Never hunted out west, but if I did, this helps me keep tuned in. I use an old bag that I've had, just an old generic Hurricane bag. I use it for a backstop because it's pretty beat. It needs replaced, but at 60 yards, I put this foam target in front of it. And made in USA, that's always a good thing. And it'll stop at just about everything at 60 yards. So that works out good. And there you can see at 60 yards, we're really stretching it. So let me give you guys one of my tips. this is one of the things I wanted to speak to you guys about. What I like to do when I'm practicing, if I'm just working my muscles, my shoulders, and building up my strength, I'll just work the short targets, 20, 30-yard targets, just for repetition, just to build up my shooting strength for compounds. But once I get that done and I'm feeling kind of comfortable, then I start working on my groups, and that's where I'm at right now, being that summer just started. And for that, this is where I spend my time. 50 yards. I will sit there and shoot 50 yards all day, all week, week after week, and concentrate on my groups at 50 yards. And you ask yourself, well, why would you do that? I would never shoot a white-tailed deer or turkey or anything like that at 50 yards, by no means, and I would not recommend that for anyone. But what it does, in my opinion, in my experience, shooting at 50 yards, if you can start getting groups, I'd say the size of your fist or a softball, consistently at 50 yards, when you get down into a real life scenario, 20 yards, 30 yards, 37 yards primarily, or 15 yards. Oh, there goes Sonny. Say hello to Sonny. That's my cat. He's always out on the range with me too. But anyhow, like I was saying, I'm sorry. When you start practicing at 50 yards, and even 60, but when you start getting confidence at 50 yards, when you get into a real life situation of 20 yards, 25, 30 yards, like you say in here, it's almost instinctual to make tight groups when you get inside 20, when you get inside 30 yards. And primarily, I would say most of my experience is everything's within 4 yards to 37 yards that I get cracks at shooting at. So that's what I do. And it's a good tip. I work at that 50 yards all the time. When my groups are good, then I'll fling a few close. And when you start getting used to shooting at 50 yards, like I said, all day long, then you move in, you start shooting at 30-yard bags, 20-yard targets. It's a chip shot. It builds up your confidence so fast. So that's what I wanted to pass along and give a tip to you guys about, is practicing out at those longer range. Like I say, I would never shoot a wild game legally at that distance, but just to build your confidence. So in the field, when you get into those 20-yard shots, it is simply a chip shot. So with that said, I think that'll close this video. Again, I wanted to thank everybody, all the new subscribers, for stepping up, sharing, liking, hitting the notification bells, everything. Please leave some comments and stay with us this summer. I'll be out clearing lanes and all that fun stuff, and preparing for this fall. I'll bring you guys along on that journey as well. And again, thank you to all the new subscribers. Stay with us. We got some good things coming. One other thing I wanted to say before I sign off. My targets, my wife doesn't like this, but I leave my targets out 24/7, 365. My archery range is open all year long. I probably should bring them in once, you know, the snow flies, because northeastern Ohio can get pretty nasty. But I found the bags rot just as well in my barn with mice chewing them as they do out here, out in the range. So again, I'm gonna have to sign off. And again, from my bottom of my heart, all the friends at EH, thank you so very much for being with us. And always remember, shoot straight and peace and love.